Today in Clash Royale, we are going to be trying out an NFL football themed deck. This deck is because the Super Bowl is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and there are four teams left in the playoffs. Both of those teams will play a game, and then the winner will go to the Super Bowl. And so this deck is based on the four teams that are left in the playoffs. The first team is the Rams, so we have two Ram cards, the Battle Ram and Ram Rider. The Patriots are the second team. So we have two kind of Patriot cards. The Three Musketeers because they're dressed like soldiers in the Revolutionary War who were patriots for their country. And then the Royal Ghost kind of reminded me of a, maybe it's just me, but it kind of reminded me of like a founding father, like an old warrior, kind of like George Washington leading his troops. Just because he's got a sword, and so he kind of reminded me of a Patriot as well. Maybe a little bit of a stretch, but we have two Patriot cards. The Seahawks are the third team, so we have all the minions because it just reminded me of a little blue flying things. They kind of look like Seahawks. And then the Broncos are the last team, and Broncos are obviously a horse, so we have both of the princes who both ride on horses. So we got the Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, and Broncos all as kind of Clash Royale cards, and so this is the NFL themed deck that we're going to be trying to win with today. Uh, like a lot of the recent decks I've played, it's incredibly heavy. I think the average elixir cost is almost 5, and both of our evolutions will need to cycle twice to get to, so we probably won't get to them. We probably won't get to them until I would think late into double elixir, and our best answer here is probably a minion horde. I just worry that he has that card. I also don't know why I played minions into that poison. Um, but anyway, I did want to share a thought with you guys. I was just thinking about sports, kind of in general, and I realize how simple they are. Like sports at their core is just a really simple thing. Like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people, I mean, millions around the world will tune in to sports, and there's tens of thousands that pay to show up in the actual arena. Um, and a lot of times it's just to watch. It's just to watch a very simple sport. Like with basketball, you're just watching all these guys. Their only goal is to get a ball through a hoop. Um, you have football is just a bunch of guys chasing around a ball on a field, trying to get it across the line. Soccer is, arguably even simpler. Just getting a ball into a net. It's just, and millions of people, probably billions even, watch sports around the world of some kind, and it's just, we can be entertained, and we can celebrate, and we can cheer for teams that just have a really just a simple concept to it. And it was kind of a reminder of how kind of how life should be, like how we should also try to find joy in the simple things. Like, you know we don't necessarily have to focus on the complex things in order to find joy. Like if we can cheer for people that we don't even know personally that are kicking a ball through a net, then surely we can find joy, and we can celebrate our own little successes of, like, waking up, getting out of bed, going to school. Like, I think oftentimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the little things that we do, and maybe we should. Maybe we should try to find joy in those simple things. And kind of like life, you could get distracted by more complicated things in sports. Like, if you've ever gone to an arena in sport, if you've ever gone to a sports game, it can be overwhelming. Um, like, there's a ton of people there. There's concessions. There's events. There's lots of things that are going on, and so you know you could get kind of overwhelmed by everything that's going on, but ultimately the reason why you show up is just to watch a simple sport. And so that was just a thought that I had is, we can find joy in simple things. Sports are simple. Um, Holy Prince getting on the tower. It's also nice that he's using his drill defensively so that he gets minimal damage on our tower. Hopefully he keeps doing that, but he's not going to. So we're gonna kind of need to defend here. Uh, and one other thought that I had about that, about finding joy in things, is that it is a lot easier said than done. Like I don't want to just say find joy in simple things because it's much harder to actually do. Um, like you might be wondering, how do you actually do that? How do you actually find joy in those things? Um, I think it starts by not necessarily forcing yourself to not necessarily forcing yourself, like forcing a smile and forcing yourself to be happy at achievements. I think it starts honestly just by being observant. Like if you just observe. Oh, I guess we won that one. I wasn't even paying attention to the right tower, but we actually did okay there against a legitimate Goblin Drill deck. I just think it starts by being observant. I think if you kind of observe the really small things you do and kind of recognize those, then they kind of have a way of I don't know if this makes sense, of like treating you back if you recognize them. The whole thing I'm trying to say is I think we just need to give ourselves a bit more credit. I think sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, and um, we can cheer on teams in basketball for throwing a ball through a net, but oftentimes we don't oftentimes we don't celebrate just getting out of bed and showing up to school. Like, oh, that Goblin Demolisher is gonna Goblin Demolisher is just gonna demolish everything. So I guess that's what I wanted to share with you guys, is just be a little bit easier on yourself. Start to recognize the really small, simple things that you do, and give yourself a little bit of credit, and you know find joy and find kind of purpose in the really small things. Just because sports are simple, sports are not complicated, and yet we can still find joy in those. So, all right. Hopefully Royal Ghost can save us here. And Dark Prince is going to come charging all the way over from the other lane. And, and Musketeer is going to get a little bit of damage, and Ghost as well. So, last game we were up against Goblin Drill. Now we're up against a Demolisher recruits Golden Knight Spirit Empress. This should be fine. I mean, we have Minion Horde, as long as he doesn't have... I have a feeling he's going to have arrows or fireball in this deck. I guess we'll find out now. He's going to preemptively arrow over there. I probably should have seen that coming. But... alright, we'll ram on the other lane. And we'll go with this to hopefully clear out a couple of the recruits. This deck, I played a deck, played a deck several days ago of an all win conditions deck, and honestly, this deck has quite a few win conditions as well. I don't think we're not gonna break through with 5 seconds left, but we did end up winning one game with the NFL deck. Um, so not a terrible deck. It is heavy, but you know you can still win games with it, even if even against a legitimate Goblin Drill deck. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you take away any message from today, just hopefully you learn to give yourself a little bit more credit, right? Maybe you go to school and you end up kind of spacing out of class and not learning a whole lot, and you feel miserable and tired, and you come home after the day and you feel like you haven't learned anything new. At least give yourself credit for waking up and going to school in the first place, right? Give yourself credit for those small, simple things, and just start to observe and notice those. Maybe you take a note. Maybe you have a little notepad and write them down, and maybe that'll help your self-esteem and your confidence a little bit more. Because oftentimes I think we just blow by the really what we think are small achievements, when in reality they could be celebrated, kind of like we celebrate sports, which are also simple. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day today, and I will see you all in the next video.